day.
And welcome to Cowboy Logic, everyone. I'm Donna Fiducia, along with Don NEUEN, who has his number 2 pencil as usual. Man, it's like every single day you could do 4 hours of headlines, and the next day it's completely different. But the one thing we have to keep reiterating, especially as far as this latest indictment about Donald Trump, is that in Georgia, and actually around the country now, I'm going to ask you kids to ask your parents about this TV show, Car 54, Where Are You? I keep singing to myself, Congressional Republicans, where are you? I mean, this is
Donna missed that.
I ignore him. Yeah, it's true. I ignore him. He is too young. Anyhow, but seriously, where are the Congressional Republicans?
Yep.
At least in D.C. Do something. And God bless this 29-year-old kid, Colton Moore, who stands up to the powers that be, 29-year-old state senator here in Georgia. And what he's doing is he's sending a letter to Brian Kemp demanding a special session. Now, Governor Kemp does not have to actually call the special session if they get 2/3 of the House, I believe it is, and the Senate, or the legislature and the Senate, to agree on this. But what he wants to do is investigate, defund, and possibly impeach Fani Willis, because what she's doing is not, I mean, all it is.
Just slightly over the top.
Well, it's over the top, and it's quite honestly, that is election interference. I mean, murders are up in Atlanta like 60%. It's the same with Washington, D.C. Carjackings in Washington, D.C., month over month are up 120%. I mean, all these people are doing is going after Donald Trump while their citizens are suffering. It's just...
everything is backwards right now.
Yeah.
An individual can be convicted and sentenced to murdering another human being and get less time than Jan 6ers. You can have people that are trafficking children be convicted and sentenced and get less time than Jan 6ers.
Yep. It's insane.
Everything
totally insane.
Really, really wrong right now.
The left is trying to decriminalize free speech, the First Amendment, let alone the Second Amendment, which they're always attacking. But you're going against all 18 of his lawyers and his closest inner circle. I mean, then look at Joe Biden, who's now been on vacation for, the last year, and he's only been in office for a year, for 2.5 years. And the thing is, Georgia took 19 days to certify the election. So you're going to tell me you need machines so you can count faster? The whole thing is just so asinine. But if you go to ColtonMoore, MOORE.com, and join this petition, sign this petition, and call your state senator or your legislator in Georgia, if you're in Georgia, tell them to get off their duff and follow what this 29-year-old kid is doing, because he is trying to help save this country for his kids and grandchildren, and this is what we all want. This is just, it's sad. It's really sad that, the way this is going on.
Speaking of sad, I want to mention that we lost a valued and dedicated Real America's Voice Cowboy Logic viewer and friend. Rosalie Gunn has been battling for many, many, many months to stay alive. And her husband, Carl Gunn, has kept us updated on what's been going on, and Rosalie passed away on Monday, August 14th. And this was the love of Carl's life, It's a pain that I don't think many of us yet understand, and I certainly don't ever want to understand it. But Carl, our prayers and thoughts, they do work, go out to you and your family. And just know that Rosalie is looking down and she's proud of you. And she's going to be sitting up there waiting for you, brother. But Rosalie Gunn, you will be missed, and we thank you for the time that we did get to spend with you as a RAV viewer and
RAV
a Cowboy
warrior.
Logic.
Yep.
Cowboy Logic viewer.
You know, the other thing that's so sad is, and Gateway Pundit was highlighting Ryan Samsel's plight.
Yeah.
And Ryan's only real sin is that he was next to Ray Epps. And he's the one with the white hoodie that's got the MAGA hat on. And we had him on a few months ago, and he told us exactly what Ray Epps whispered into his ear, and we were able to show you the video of that because it finally is slowly creeping out. This is what's so annoying. You've got a sham J6 committee out there for 2+ years, and they're told by Congress now, the Republicans, to keep all of their findings, and all of a sudden that gets thrown out. You know why? Because their findings found nothing except maybe to condemn the actions that they themselves took.
Well,
And
they
Ryan is just
had to
being-
manufacture their findings.
Yeah.
Now, can I jump into something real
Yeah.
quick here with regard to findings? You know, as we've explained to you all, we don't have access to evidence.com, and we don't have access to the 44,000 hours worth of video footage. What we do have access to is public domain footage. And Ron, if you can get this ready, I'll give you a cue. But we found something public domain that is very troubling. I think we should ask Jeff McKellop about it when we talk to him later.
Yeah.
But this is some video footage of what appears to be a Metro police officer, MPD officer, undercover, but you can see his badge hanging, and we think that badge number is either 2328 or 2329. We've had to slow it down, and it is tough to see. But he's talking to a Capitol Police officer. He hands him a bottle of water, and he discusses the fact that he, the MPD undercover officer, is going to be dressing up as Antifa. Let's roll this.
And going into the crowd.
Yeah, for the first time, Ron. Let's see
Take
this.
a look at this.
Well, we go undercover as Antifa in the crowd, so can you put that back in?
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah. It feels better? You guys get sprayed? Here.
All right, now, he sets that camera down. Keep it playing, Ron. And what will end up happening is when he picks it up, you're going to see his face. And then we're going to talk about this a little bit. But it's going to give a face shot of this guy with a mask on.
And where's the media on this?
Yeah,
Silent.
the media is...
Totally silent.
So's the J6 committee.
Yeah. Sham
All right,
J6
here we go. There he
There's
is.
his face. Okay, where's the 2,000 mules technology that could probably identify that police officer? And he's admitting we go undercover as Antifa
Yeah,
in
run
the
that
crowd.
one more time, and
the
I'll tell you
beginning
when to
part,
clip it, Ron.
Well, we go undercover as Antifa in the crowd, so can you put that back in?
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah. It feels better? You guys get sprayed?
Okay.
And that McKellop did say that they kicked one of these canisters down the guy's eyes. Some of the police officers' eyes were tearing because they're shooting gas canisters into the crowd, and it blew back onto some of them. And that's, they're giving water and stuff like that to
Well,
each other.
some of you warriors out there that want to dig into that a little bit, maybe you can find out a little bit more about that. But we are going to bring this up when we talk to Jeff McKellop and see if he knows anything about it. This is the kind of troubling thing that we're seeing as we're digging deeper and deeper into this. But that sham J6 committee with Liz Cheney and Bernie, what's his name?
Yeah, whatever.
Bernie
I don't know.
Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benny Thompson.
Benny Thompson.
The one who kept saying 5 cops were killed, and I keep yelling at the TV, name them, Benny, because 4 civilians were killed that day.
Yeah. But they of course didn't show you that footage, and quite frankly, we didn't see it until about a couple
Everything
of weeks
takes
ago.
2.5 years to come out. The Biden, laptop from hell, the COVID vaccine mandates, all this seems to take 2.5 years to come out because the mainstream media is not doing its job.
You're watching Cowboy Logic. We're trying to do our job, and we do this show for you. If it wasn't for you, it would only be
cameras and lights.
Hey, we'll be right back. We'll see you in a minute. Hey everybody, Don Neuen with Cowboy Logic. For years, you guys have sent us thousands of emails asking us, where do we find ivermectin? Where do we find hydroxychloroquine? How do we find pharmacies that'll actually fill these prescriptions? And most importantly, how do we find doctors that'll stop practicing politics and start practicing medicine again? We got your answer. DrStellaMD.com. That's Dr. Stella Emanuel's website. You guys know her. You've seen her on the show. You've seen her on the steps of the Supreme Court. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to DrStellaMD.com, you can actually telemedicine with her and become one of her personal patients. And then that's where the good things start happening, because she's got this network of doctors, network of pharmacies all over the United States, all 50 states, that'll fill these prescriptions for you and ship them to your home. DrStellaMD.com. 1776 promo code gets you 5% off. Fill those medicine cabinets now. Don't wait till you're sick.
Welcome back to Cowboy Logic, everyone. Donna Fiducia, Don Neuen. Are you playing with my little feather there?
Yep.
I love this.
Donna's got a feather on her beaver. I don't have a feather on my beaver, but you can touch my beaver.
Yeah, I know. Speaking, Ron has been visiting the farm.
He has.
And Ron has been driving the big ass tractor.
He has.
Which I can't even do because I'm quite honestly afraid of it.
You can't?
It's got 8 million.
You haven't?
Really, how many gears does it have?
32.
32 gears. Why do you need 32 gears?
Check out Ron, everybody. Ron's tooling around in one of the hay fields with the...
He's not even mowing.
With the big-ass tractor.
He's just wearing down the hay.
This was his first trip.
Oh, okay.
This was his first attempt at driving the beast. And so we didn't turn on the cutting blades. We just had him milling around out there in one of the hay fields. And look at that old beast. Yeah, Mahindra, baby. Yeah. Ron's doing a good job on it.
That's pretty good. It's impressive. And then he's got to show off his tattoos there that he got.
Yep.
His We the People and his Mullen Love tattoo.
But there's El Ronbo, you guys, at the farm, driving the Mahindra. All right. That's good.
Crushing all the hay that we need to bale at a later date.
And there's his tats. Yeah, baby. Hey, anytime Ron comes here, we have a lot of fun.
We put him to work.
That's right.
That's what we do,
and then Ron forgets that in between the times when he comes and visits because he always ends up coming back. And so that's super cool. We hope he doesn't remember the work that we have him do.
Well, that's true. So let's get back to Georgia, where we are. I want to read the statement from Colton Moore, the 29-year-old state senator from Georgia that is trying to get a special session of the state legislature, which could be called now that Fani Willis has indicted Donald Trump and 18 of his personal group, his lawyers, everything. I mean, God forbid you try to actually have a defense. He said, the politically motivated weaponization of our justice system at taxpayers' expense should not be tolerated. I think that kind of sums it up. I really do.
I'd say we all agree.
Again, check out his website.
On either side of the aisle.
It's true.
On either side of the aisle. Well, you should... This should never happen in America.
No. Free speech should not be weaponized because basically what you're doing, and then she's trying to push it, even though Young Thug, who's also got some RICO statutes that she's pushing, has been sitting in jail for over a year, and I don't even think he has a trial date. Meanwhile, they want Trump and 18 of his co-conspirators to have a trial date early next year, right when the campaign season really ramps up. I mean, gee, that's not politically motivated at all. Here's the thing, though. If you're a Democrat or a Republican, you have to be waking up at this point. I mean, if you were in East Palestine and that tragedy there with the train derailment, and people are saying, well, they're just a bunch of Trumpers, a bunch of MAGA people, we don't care about them. Well, what's Maui? Maui's probably, I would say, way more. I mean, it's blue. It's a deep blue state. And Hawaii is a deep blue state. And Maui and Lahaina, obviously, are extremely deep blue. And what happened there? Again, Biden took 5 days to even talk about that tragedy. And, of course, he hasn't even been out there. I don't think he's been to East Palestine either. And then you've got the guy who was ahead of the emergencies.
He's the water lover guy.
Yeah, who says he has to, I don't remember his name, but I think he's already been fired or he quit or whatever. But he didn't want to use water. He's on a freaking island, and he doesn't want to use water.
Surrounded. By a rather large body of water.
And, I hate to make light of it because we've got at least a couple hundred dead. I believe 500 at this point, but we've got thousands missing, and mostly people who were incinerated in their cars because they couldn't get out, because he hesitated. If he hadn't hesitated, that water could have been used to wet down all the houses in that area and possibly stop this from being such a tragedy. Again, you've got a deep blue state and you've got a deep red state. This deep state doesn't care about we, the people, and it's about time everybody starts waking up on both sides. It's really scary.
Well, you just have to ask yourself, everybody, when is the last time that you saw any liberal, Democrat-run city, state, municipality, whatever it might be, and they do an efficient, good job?
Yeah. We'll wait.
It's kind of like asking the question, just name one thing that the Democrat Party has done to enrich the lives of our fellow Black Americans? Or maybe the question, name just one thing that the Congressional Black Caucus has ever done to enrich the lives of our fellow Black Americans. We'll wait once again. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
how about what has the federal government ever done, period, that betters the lives of people without meddling? You know, the federal government is 40% bigger than it was before COVID. Why? They haven't missed a single paycheck. I say shut her down in September when this whole budget fiasco.
SHUDDER.
Yeah. Shut her down. Shut her down.
Shut her down.
But I do think, and speaking of man-made things and other things that aren't necessarily man-made, and you have your pencil there.
Well, while you're talking, I'm sharpening my pencil with my Cowboy Logic knife that Ron made.
We have another possible, and it has nothing to do with global warming, come on, but this is the first time California's got a hurricane warning coming up the coast, and God knows how long.
Yeah,
and
this is awesome.
It
was awesome. By the time you watch this, it will have petered out into typical Hillary stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like, it'll peter out kind of like her campaign did.
Yeah. Did she ever concede? I don't think she ever conceded.
What difference does it make if she conceded? Play the video, Ron.
Okay.
There goes Hurricane Hillary right up the coast.
We tracked it last week, and that's pretty much what it did.
Now, if she takes a right turn, she actually will ruin Joe Biden's vacation that he's having out in Nevada at Tim Steyer's, billionaire Tim Steyer's estate. But chances are she's not going to take a right turn.
Yeah.
Hurricane Hillary. Actually, I think it's down there already, thank God. So
her hill. Like Ben-Hur. Hill her. Ben-Hur. Hill her.
God. Hey, you know what really is interesting?
No.
A lot of people have said to me they want to donate to Donald Trump, but they're not really sure.
This is interesting.
They're not really sure whether it's going to Trump or whether it's going to the RNC. And obviously the RNC is what you don't want your money going to anymore. And I've had the same issue. You keep getting all these emails, help Trump and blah, 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 blah. Well, anyhow, what's happening? Yeah, we just got this other one. We burned the last letter asking for money, but this is actually a survey, a Republican survey from the RNC. But what Trump has done is he's put out a little gold medallion with his name on it that actually says whether or not this is a good organization to donate to, whether it's going to help him or whether it's going to help the RNC. And obviously you don't want the latter. So I thought that was pretty cool. Look for that seal of approval, essentially.
I'm really interrupting you here. Of course, on the survey platform, they've got room for credit cards if you want to send them any money, of course.
It's another one we got to burn.
Yeah. All right, but go back to this, because this is important.
This is huge. It's a Trump. It's a gold seal. It's got his face on it, and it shows the seal of approval as to whether this is a good enough organization or it is a Trump-affiliated organization. Look for that before you send your money anywhere. And the other thing that I had said to Don, I'm going to pat myself on the back on this one. Weeks ago, I said, wouldn't it be great if Tucker Carlson interviews Donald Trump
about a month ago
during the Republican debate, the first Republican debate? And lo and behold, on Twitter X or whatever the hell it's called now, that's exactly what's going to happen. Let's see who gets, Twitter obviously doesn't have the reach that Fox News Channel has at this point.
Yeah, but Tucker's got a bigger reach than the Fox News Channel.
Because I believe he had 80 million views on one of his little
I'd say that's a little bit bigger of a reach than Fox.
That should be interesting, and we'll see what happens with that.
Listen, she did. She called this thing about a month ago, and then when we started seeing news about it last week, we were like, woo. Nice job. Give me some honey.
Oh, there you go. You want some honey?
Yep.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com, folks.
Before we go to break.
There you go. Oh, man. Ugh. I can't do it straight like that. Now he's on Honey High. This is not certified by Donald Trump, but it is a golden Donald Trump seal.
And I just squeezed the Donald.
And you can save this bottle afterwards. MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com, promo code 1776, and the proceeds are going to our Jan Sixers,
Yep.
too.
Yep.
We love it.
haven't made a penny off
And
this
you know
stuff
what
yet.
else? Bart Shively is out. So Captain Sticky Bun
Yep.
is now out and heading home, folks. We thank you for all the support. And we've got our Captain Sticky Bun brush and comb set.
And we'll be right back. Donna's not looking at the clock, ladies and gentlemen. Cowboy Logic. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, we got a brand new sponsor at Cowboy Logic. 1776 promo code gets you 15% off.
SugarCreekGoods.com.
Yeah.
We are talking about all natural cleansers, scrubs,
Bar soap.
creams. This is the body butter. I love this. This is awesome stuff. Don, let me put a little bit on here. Don uses the Freedom Bar because the Freedom Bar is even more special, right? Because 100% of the Freedom Bar proceeds go to Jan Sixers. There you go. Perfect.
Freedom Bar, all proceeds go to J Sixers.
Again, it's sugarcreekgoods.com. Hey, I got the toner too, and let me tell you something. It minimizes the pores on your face.
Yeah,
It's
she
awesome.
uses it
I
before the
only
shows.
used it a couple days so
And
far.
I use this every day. And these bars last. They don't disappear like a lot of this stuff.
That's sugarcreekgoods.com. Sugarcreekgoods.com.
All right, everybody, we've got another treat for you. We've got our good friend, Jeff McKellop, J Sixer, Ranger, Special Forces, contractor with Alphabet Agencies, and now he's sitting in Fort Worth, Texas, for reasons unknown. Brother Jeff McKillop, welcome back to Cowboy Logic, brother.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, thank you for having me. Greetings to you and Donna.
Yep. So, listen, ladies and gentlemen, any of you that have seen Jeff McKillop on the show know that all we have to do is push a button, and Jeff starts up and goes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push the button, Jeff, and it's all on you, brother. Boink.
Go for it.
Right. So, a lot of people always want to know how I got here and what led this up. And I'm going to echo what I said before about attorneys not doing their job. So how I got here, man, obviously I was asked to go to J6 by a friend of mine, and reluctantly declined, but eventually, he pulled the friend card out and I had to go. But you have to look at it, man, why the MPD were doing what they did that day and how we met on the field of battle is that these guys were completely out of control, man, and they were doing whatever came to their mind, the MPD and Capitol Police, without instruction from higher. And retired Chief's son, SUND, echoed that in a couple of statements that he made when he became a whistleblower about how he was calling for help in National Guard, but nobody came. So I think what happened is that nobody gave a command decision, and when you're a private on the line and you're told to hold the line, that's what your job is going to be. And then you look to your left or right and you see your chain of command standing there, and they're beating the crap out of an innocent woman or an elderly man or whatever. You're going to get into the mix too because you think it's the right thing to do. Hence, me, Augustine, Bagshaw, Tao, Tyndall, and the rest of them all came to meet up that day, and along with Glenn Lambardini, skinny jean wearing punk that he is, beat that elderly woman after Lieutenant Patera sprayed her in the face with mace. The woman couldn't protect herself, but he took it upon himself as a target of opportunity to beat that woman, driving me forward. Okay? So, and they're using that against me, man.
This call is from a federal prison.
I tried to defend the woman as best I could, and it's horrible to have to engage against police officers that are sworn to protect the population when they're actively engaging in violence against said people. And along with Augustine, who was completely out of control, along with his buddy Bagshaw and Tao, and that brought me here into this place. So the attorneys, I've got no help whatsoever. I'm on my fourth set of attorneys, man. These guys will not look at the evidence. I'm like, look, sir, you've got to look at this. What is that right there? He's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, it's a Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol into a Kydex waistband holster. And it says, we the people on it. He's like, well, you don't know that. It's like Chief Brody, man, in Jaws. He's showing the picture of the shark to the city council, and they're not even looking at it. They're like, well, that could be a dinner plate or something. He's like, it's a freaking eye of a shark, man. Look at it. And they're like, well, you don't know that, And it's like, I'm like, look at it, man. It's a Smith & Wesson 9mm hollow point, man. Look at the Sparrow magazine. How did I find that? Because the DOJ made the mistake and put it on my discovery. And I slowed down the video and started watching, and that's when you see the oddities. And I'm trying to point this out to the attorneys. They refuse to look at the evidence, all of them. Jeff, well, if you take this crappy plea deal of 8 to 15 years, you probably won't get sentenced. And I think they're trying to charge you for rape and sodomy and all kinds of other stuff you did that day. I'm like, what? What are you blathering about, man? I'm like, well, what is going on?
Hold on. They're not really. They didn't really say rape and sodomy, did they?
No.
Okay.
All those things.
But here's the thing: we need to tell everybody.
Possibility that day.
Jeff,
so,
hold on.
Clearly, I was making a joke. It's like they're trying to throw everything else at me. It's unbelievable, man. They're trying to make me to be a terrorist.
Jeff, we need to tell everybody you had the highest security clearance. You were a government contractor on January 6th. Your actions were taken because you saw what you did overseas as far as color revolutions are concerned happening right here on January 6th. And that's when you took action. You're not going to let women and the elderly get attacked. And that's what these quote unquote now celebrity cops are doing. These cops are actually making names for themselves. Some of them are paid people who work at CNN and other cable news outlets. They're paid informants or whatever you want to call them.
They're paid talking heads.
Talking heads. And it's amazing how they're getting away with it. But this whole thing with that was going on with Tucker Carlson and his interview with Chief Sund, which was not allowed to air on Fox, but Tucker did another interview recently. That was very eye-opening because it showed how he was fired the next day. They bring in Yolanda Pittman, who then gets a cushy job over at University of Berkeley in Nancy Pelosi's district.
Yeah, that's completely amazing. And you know something? The MPD know it. The Capitol Police know it. Everybody knows it. But they refuse to come out. These people are scumbags, man. They're liars, cheats, and thieves, and they claim to be a Christian. They're going to burn one day, man. They're going to have to stand before the eyes of God and proclaim the truth, and they're going to burn for it. But these people know, and we found it. We found it on the video, just like you said.
Yep.
But you don't know it when you're on the ground looking. You have to go back on the video. The video doesn't lie, man. You know, why is it that there's a guy standing there doing nothing? He's got his little aviator sunglasses on. He's not doing anything while a battle rages on around him. 360 fist fighting going on, except for one man just standing there next to a wall watching. Why is that guy? Why does he have the two-way communication earbud, man? Why has he got his arms around, police officers whispering stuff and then goes off into the crowd to commit violence or whatever they were going to do? These little things start to pop up, man, and they know it, man. They all know it. I think the only people, and I believe this, the only people that didn't know it were the guys on the front line that were battling it out with the civilians, man. But they were so overwhelmed, they had no choice.
Yeah.
There was no LRAS. There was no bullhorn to bring calm or stave the violence. There was nothing. There were no orders given except to stand the line, and that was it until around 1700 when one of the commanders said, "All right, this is enough. We're gonna form a line here and push them off the Capitol grounds." And that's all people did was just walk away once they were told to leave.
Jeff,
they could have done that at the beginning.
Jeff, let me ask you about some video footage that we've watched recently of an undercover, looks like MPD officer talking to a Capitol police officer in uniform, and he clearly says, I am going to dress up like...
This call is from a federal prison.
I am going to dress up like Antifa. Now, we get a badge flash that he's got hanging over his neck, and it's either 2328 or 2329 badge number. Did you see any of that footage, and do you recall what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Some of the other guys that I was in the cell block with in D.C. saw things like that. A lot of things, but I did not see that. I can't claim victory there, but I do know that Ron Sanderlin and Nate DeGraves that I was in D.C. with, those dudes are hidden YouTube specialists, and they wore multiple uniforms that day, and it's on video that little punk, he's like, oh, I was there, I was a J6er, I was a Patriot. Then why did you take off your jacket and change shirts? After you committed acts of violence and broke windows, got into the Capitol, and then left. I'm like, what was up with that? And he's like, oh, well, I didn't want to be, but I did not see that badge number or that individual. But there are 3 people on my discovery that were smashed into the corner while everybody else was raging on. And then when the camera pans back around, they got their arms around this female police officer whispering to her. And then they kind of like slide over to the side and start drinking water, chiming it up with the MPD, who are clearly beating the crap out of other people. But all of a sudden, these guys don't get beat. And then you see one guy talking into his wrist. I'm like, give me a break, man.
Do you recall what camera you saw that on?
That was on Bagshaw's body cam.
Okay.
Captain Bagshaw's body cam footage.
Okay. At approximately what time, Jeff?
2:30-ish.
Okay.
Because the line broke. Captain Augustine kicked a CS grenade all the way down the line of officers and gassed them all out. I watched 37 officers walk straight off the line on his body cam footage alone. He gassed them all out. He could have picked it up and thrown it back out in the crowd, but he chose to kick it down the line of officers, and all the crowd did was just step forward. After that, it was just mayhem. And getting back to it,
You got 1 minute, brother. You got 1 minute.
Yeah, I need help, man. And once again, man, I'm going to reiterate. I need help. I need somebody to help me. I have no money, no car, no home, no nothing, dude. I need help from an attorney that's going to sit down with me and painstakingly go through these videos, man. I have had no legal documentation over the last year and a half, almost 2 years now. The D.C. police and the D.C. jail system has taken everything from me, man.
Yeah.
I've got nothing, man, and I don't know what else to do, bro. I have nowhere else to go.
All right. We've got your Give, Send, Go up there. We've got the Give, Send, Go. G3JTE, ladies and gentlemen. This is a veteran, a retired U.S. Army Special Forces Ranger.
And look what they're doing.
This man needs to be back.
Project.
That's right.
Sorry.
Hey, that's okay. Jeff, we got to go to break. We love you, brother. We're going to stand with you. We're going to stand with you, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Cowboy Logic. We'll be right back.
back to Cowboy Logic. I'm Donna Fiducia. He's Don Neuen.
And I'm all jacked up on my honey.
Yes, this is true.
Starting to feel it.
Well, but I want to
starting
get
to feel
to
it.
our guest.
Yes, go.
Because she is Andy M. Andy M. And folks in the Rav chat know her as Andy M, as you see right there, 5'10". Andy M, it's just awesome to meet you.
It is so awesome. Andy M, the drummer girl. The drummer girl.
The little drummer girl.
And listen, you sent us an email earlier. You're actually taking now drum lessons, right?
That's correct. I signed up with Drumeo, and I'm excited. I have my drum pad, and then after I learn the sticks, the rhythm of the sticks, I'm gonna get my drum set.
Awesome. Well, we should
and when you get that, everybody that lives in your house and in your neighborhood is going to regret the fact that you took up drums. But you will still enjoy it. But we've got something very special we want to play for you, given the fact that you are the lead drummer in the Cowboy Logic band barn parties.
Yep.
With the Cowboy Logic barn party band. You are the lead drummer. You are the big kahuna when it comes to beating the skins. You are the drum girl. But we've got something we want to show you and get your take on this. Ron, fly this in for us. Yeah, baby. You ever seen that guy?
Is he? I mean, doesn't he make you want to practice? I'm not really into drums that much, but that guy is badass. That is El Estepario Siberiano. He's in Spain, and boy, is he amazing. And every single video he posts is better than the one before it. I mean, it's unbelievable. And we saw that, we go, Andy M's got to see that.
Andy
so she
M's got
has
to
some
check this
inspiration.
guy out. There's motivation.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah, there
All
you
right,
go.
so you've got some fascinating things that you've shared with us, with the barn party, and probably the most impressive thing, outside of actually moving out of the state of Chinafornia,
California.
is that you were a college athlete.
Yep, track athlete, roller derby too.
Roller derby.
Brazilian
That's
jiu-jitsu,
badass.
purple
Roller
belt.
derby's badass.
Boise State track.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about all the various things that you've done that the rest of us wish we could do.
Well, my first love was track. It started in the 4th grade. They had what was field day. And so they needed someone to run the 440-yard dash. And I was like, that can't be too hard. And so as soon as the whistle blew, I just took off and I just ran. I was just running. And then I could see the finish line just coming closer and closer. And finally, when I got to the end, I had stopped what you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to kind of trail off. And so I ended up passing out, but I won.
Because you stopped cold turkey from running. All right, well, that's amazing. Now, you were in a situation where LSU is probably not one of your favorite places. And what's that story?
Oh, so actually, I was recruited by Cal, Boise State, Turlock University, University of I think Minnesota, and LSU. And so it was during one of our meets. I ended up running for Boise State, and the whole season we were like top seeded to make the Olympic trials. So this one event, our head coach Ed Jacoby had said, "Hey, you know, if you ladies win this, you guys have a foot into the Olympic trials." So, you know, we did the 4 by 100 meter relay. We won, and so we were like all excited because we were like, "Oh, we're gonna go!" And then our coach got wind that LSU beat us like by 1/10 of a second. We dropped to our knees. We were like, "No!"
And they were all men. That's what it was. It was transgenders that were running against you.
They were not.
And that's what happened. That's the only reason they beat you guys.
So we should tell everybody you are a graphic designer right now.
Yep.
You're a loyal Trumper, a loyal Raver, and we appreciate you so much. The transplanted Californian, as we said, now in Arizona. Jovan Hutton Pulitzer devotee, and can't agree more on that one. But you want clean elections and justice for J6, something near and dear to our hearts as well.
Yeah, definitely. Clean elections, you know, clean our voter rolls. I believe in game day voting. I don't believe in the ballot spank bank, as I call it, because that leaves them room to, you know, slip in ballots to cheat. You know, I feel like everyone should, if you can, especially if you're in the military or shut in, you know, mail in your ballot, but just walk, crawl, run, skip to vote. Because we need it.
They call it election day for a reason. And then you actually had people in Arizona saying how horrible it was that you went to vote on election day. I mean, hello? Yeah. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, stand your ground. Stand your ground. You know, they can't close the polls until everyone is done, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's.
And the Arizona thing, though, was so horrible because they essentially eliminated election day voting by screwing around with the machines. So you got to hand it to the left. They figure out different ways. Now I feel we're actually playing into their hands by saying ballot harvest and all that, because then we're showing our hand and they know how many votes they're going to need to steal it again.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm like, just do what your civic duty, what you're supposed to do on election day, and just vote.
Exactly.
Vote.
All right, so we got about 3 minutes left. I want to find out, and I want you to tell all your fellow Rav warriors out there and barn party peeps, what does Real America's Voice mean to you? How has it changed your world? And what's the community like?
Goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't feel alone. Like, I defected from mainstream media. It just, you could just sense and smell the BS a mile away. And so, but the community is of like-minded people for the most part, and we have open dialogue. And I've formed like friends that I consider family. You know, through our discussions, through, you know, sharing information. And they also like give out information that's not like spun. Yeah.
That's really pretty much it. You know, it's funny talking about, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm done. Yeah. It's just a great community. I've, you know, like met you guys. I've met Jovan. We have People's Choice. You know, we have, you know, American Sunrise, Bannon, you know.
It's just a great, and I've said,
Bannon has.
Oh, now here he goes again.
Parcels.
Yeah, parcels.
There you go.
There's his number 2 pencils.
Hold on.
Okay, so we got about a minute and a half. Who are some of your close peeps that you want to give a shout out to? Here's an opportunity on national television for Andy M. 510 to give a shout out to some of the Rav peeps.
Okay, well, obviously you too, but you know, you're here. But Jovan, Genghis, Chris Vax, Stormy, DDO7, Jim Bemke, AZ Sarah, oh my God,
Yep.
MBK, Hammer Chuck, Ultra Sean, Ron, producer,
Yeah.
and then that,
Producer Ron.
Who's right behind us right now. Here's the thing, I want to be able to, I'm hoping that we can pull this off in 2024 despite all the election irregularities, and then maybe have a big old party with everybody. We can really meet face to face and have some celebrations,
oh, if that happens, I'm telling you, I'm gonna run at you guys like a linebacker and hug the hell out of you guys.
Yeah,
Knock us
baby.
right over, too.
Yeah, baby. Andy M. 510. You guys need to follow her on Getter. Hook up with her. Anybody that's needing graphic design work done, I've seen her working at her Mac. She knows what she's doing. Do a direct message to her, Andy M510 on Getter.
She's a patriot.
She's a patriot. She's a super patriot. She's a super barn party member. And
now she's going to
Andy
be
M,
a professional drummer, because
we
I
love
can
you,
tell.
girl.
Once
We
she
love
puts her
you.
mind to it.
Show you two. I cannot wait to show you two my progress.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
All right, ladies
Thanks,
and gentlemen,
Andy
you're
M.
watching
God
Cowboy
bless.
Lighting. We had our Spotlight Rav Warrior, and we're going to be right back.
back to Cowboy Logic. We're going to switch gears here, and we've talked to our good friend Brendy Wells many, many times because she's from South Africa. And originally, when we did Cowboy Logic, we had her on probably 10 years ago, talking about the truth about South Africa, because that's exactly what she was putting forth on her TV and radio show. She is now in the States. She's married to the great John B. Wells. I'm sure you've seen all of his great work on air. So let's bring her in right now and say hi to Brendy. Hey.
Hi, Donna.
There
Hi,
she is. Let me tell everybody, Brendy, you're from South Africa. You have a marketing background, media and public relations. Again, married to John B. Wells. And, you know, let's be open here. I was honored to be your matron of honor at your wedding.
That's right.
And you've talked so much about...
I was the flower girl.
Yeah. Actually, he held the flowers on the side. But anyhow, your Facebook group, The Truth About South Africa, is what caught our attention. And we are trying to wake people up to what's going on in South Africa. You said this 10 years ago, that South Africa is the blueprint for what is going on here in America because it's critical race theory coming home to roost. So can we first start with a little bit of background on South Africa, how it sort of had the same kind of history as the settlers here in the United States?
Of course, and thanks for having me back on again. South Africa started very similar to how the United States started. People wanted to move away from the crown and get away from that kind of control under the Vatican and the British monarchies and that. I don't think people understand how oppressive it was. In any event, what happened is some people got on a boat called the Mayflower and came to America, and other people got on a boat called the Dromedaris and went to South Africa and started a port there for the Dutch East Indian Company. However, it was an opportunity to get away and start a new civilization. Mm-hmm. At first, it was just a trading port, and when we got there, it was pretty much just a trading station. There was nothing there. There was one tribe living there called the Khoisan. It's a hunter-gatherer group of people, very mild, excellent hunters, excellent trackers, just brilliant people. They have that language that is those click sounds. In any event, there were no black tribes in South Africa in 1652. However, as the population grew and the Brits arrived and took over control of the government at the Cape Point, and then started enslaving the Khoisan people, that's when the Dutch decided, no, they probably don't want to be part of this. This is what we were trying to escape. So we packed ox wagons and crossed the mountain, the Drakensberg, and that's where we encountered the first black tribes that were coming into South Africa from the north. So we all kind of landed there at the same time.
Yeah, it's very similar to how the United States was settled and enslavement and that kind of thing. But now we're getting to a point where apartheid died 20 years ago. And now you've got groups that are actually saying, kill the Boer. Now, this is white people. The Boer, B-O-E-R, is the white people, most of which are farmers. And now we're hearing that there's an all-out war on white people that is not getting any attention at all from the mainstream media.
Oh, that's true. But that's been going on for over 20 years. That's why I came on your show in the beginning 10 years ago, was to sound the alarm, say, listen, they're killing us. But I think it's important that people understand the facts. And I'm just referring to my CD Media article that was recently published. There's a misconception in terms of the amount of different people within South Africa. There are 9 black tribes, and they're all warring tribes: Sutus, Xhosas, Vendas, Sesotho, Zulus. I mean, they all war against each other all the time. That's why they originally started the homelands, is to separate them from each other, not from the white man. But then what people also don't understand is that there are 3 white tribes in South Africa, and people never make that distinction. You have the Afrikaner, which is your predominantly Dutch people, which are the ones being murdered at a spectacular rate right now, where their own government is singing songs about killing them. And it's not just Julius Malema, he's been doing this all along. Jacob Zuma, when he was president, actually sang at an ANC rally, kill the boer, kill the farmer, and we are going to destroy them with a machine gun. I mean, they sang this at a parliament opening. Imagine this going down, Biden singing, kill all the white Americans in parliament. I mean, that's exactly what happened, and nobody says a thing. Also, you have the British, who is got predominantly from the British, and they don't side with the Afrikaner. And then you have the Jews, who are also white, but they work against the Afrikaners for, the same powers that be that took South Africa down. So these are the infiltrators pretending to be white, but they are pretending that they're Afrikaners, but they're not. And they are actively working against us. So the funny thing is they're weaponizing the black people, telling them that the only reason they have ever suffered is because of the white man. And we all know that's not true. But if you tell a group of people that is, live in a simple environment in their little shacks and in the bush, that the reason that they are in the bush is because the white man put them there, of course they're going to believe it. So now they opened up the borders, and from 5 million in 48 to 70 million in 94, they just did the exact same thing as what they're doing here. Just millions of people are crossing the border, and the ultimate objective is to replace the population. And that's what happened in South Africa.
Brandy, we got about 2 minutes in this segment before we have to go to break. 10 years ago, when we first started working with you, you were laying things out. It's as if you had a crystal ball you were looking into, telling us what was going to happen next. Much of that has come true. Where do you see us going now in your crystal ball?
My crystal ball is, number one, do not give up your guns, because you are exactly at the point now where South Africa were. They told us to peacefully give our guns away, or they're going to forcefully take it. So I think, do not be scared by this government. The government's more scared of you holding on to your guns. We got scared of the government and went, oh, no, take our guns. No, don't do that, because that is your last line of defense.
That's
all right. So obviously, there are other countries, Cuba, Venezuela, I'm sure, in which they didn't have a Second Amendment. They ended up losing their ability to defend themselves against a tyrannical government. What do you see happening? And you've only got about 30 seconds here before we go to break. What do you see happening with this upcoming election that you could look in the crystal ball? You got 30 seconds.
I think they're going to try and stop the election. What they've done is they are doing the exact same thing as in Africa. These people coming over the border, infiltrating the communities, setting up shop, waiting to be activated, and then start these home invasions on a spectacular level. Brutal killings is what is planned for the American neighborhoods. That is what happened in my country, and that's the same thing playing out here.
Wow.
Okay, that's pretty
scary.
Dark.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, hold on. She's got an article in Creative Destruction Media, CDM. We'll get to that, which has the real statistics, coming up right after the break with Brendy Wells here on Cowboy Logic.
USA. And our values and traditions don't have a price. That's why each of our hats pass through over 200 hard-working hands in this detailed process. When you put on a cowboy hat, it represents respect, freedom, strength, and courage. You're wearing the most iconic American symbol there is.
On Cowboy Logic. Oh, man. Okay. MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Promo code 1776. Don
Starting to get a buzz.
is getting a buzz. This he is. You know, we have to kind of laugh because as we went into that break, Brendy, I mean, it was scary what you have to say and very dark. So please elaborate on what you said going into the break.
Okay, I will be quick. But in South Africa, what they did when Nelson Mandela became president in 1994, the first thing he did is he opened the prisons and just let out a whole bunch of criminals. What did Joe Biden do when he came into power? How many criminals was released? Number two, what they did is they opened the borders, and all these gangs from Zimbabwe, they called them war veterans, but they were way too young to have ever fought in the Zimbabwean Liberation War, but whatever. But they came over in hordes and in gangs. The government, our own ANC government, set them up infiltrating the neighborhoods. So they would buy houses or rent houses in neighborhoods and put these gangs in there. During the day, you wouldn't see any movement. You knew there was a there's people there, but there's hardly any. It looks like nobody's there ever. And they are simply waiting to be activated. At nighttime, what will happen, and this is what happened in South Africa, these guys will come out of those houses and start breaking into houses. And this is the agenda. It's not just farms. It started out in the farmlands because they disbanded the commandos that were protecting the farms. But it then spilled over into the neighborhoods. And people are asleep in their bed, and these gangs break in. They rape the mother, torture the father, boil the 12-year-old boy in a bathtub. I mean, just evil, cruel to the core. And then what they did at the time is that they fired all the white policemen. They could do it because, of the horrible white regime and apartheid. They absolutely just villainized them and then employed police officers. But get this, not South Africans, Zimbabweans, Congolese. I mean, you would call the cops and you wouldn't be able to speak your language. So this is the scenario. You get broken into, they shoot you, and you manage to pop around and injure an assailant or a suspect or whatever you want to call it. And you call the cops come and arrest you for killing the criminal. So
but we're seeing that here. I mean, we saw that with the guy in Texas, I believe it was, in Austin, who gets accosted by a guy with a gun while he's in his car, an Uber driver, I think it was, and he pulls out a gun, shoots the guy, and he gets 10 years. Exactly what you're saying is the culmination of critical race theory, which is happening in Africa. 10 years ago, you told us about this. This is what we have to look forward to, which is what our government is doing to us that, God forbid, if we don't stop it.
It's here already, Donna, like you just explained. And this is the thing. They have turned the legal system against you. The cops are not your friends. Unless, of course, you know them and there's a relationship. But they are this defund the police. All this stuff is every single thing that they did in my country. It's like being in the Twilight Zone and just living through this nightmare again. But I'm telling you, if these gangs start to infiltrate the homes, and they will, you need to be armed, because that is the mistake we made. We weren't armed. And then you don't call the cops. You make a plan. Understand that your government is weaponized against you. Your government is trying to kill you. I know it sounds terrible. I'll probably be killed for even saying it. But if I'm not going to say it, who's going to say it? Look what just happened in Hawaii. This is we are under attack by our own government. And if we don't make a plan, figure out where we're going to go, how we're going to survive, ride this thing out. But the first thing you do is make sure you can defend yourself. That's it.
Brendy, when they started moving these gangs into these neighborhoods in South Africa, was there some strategery behind where they were placed? Did they target certain neighborhoods very similarly to what they're doing with this mass influx of illegals that are coming across the U.S. borders, sending them into targeted red states and red cities?
Most certainly. That's exactly what they did. They put them in the affluent neighborhoods. It's specifically the neighborhoods where there were political leaders staying, or still some semblance of civilization. And they've torn everything down to the core. I remember visiting my parents. I was still at university. This was 1996, 97. And I had a weekend. I went home. And my parents stayed in a suburb, in a neighborhood. And this wasn't in the sticks on a farm somewhere. And I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning hearing the most god-awful noises. And they were busy doing some kind of sacrifice next door, slaughtering a cow, dancing around a fire. And this is the noises that, you hear. I mean, imagine going to bed and you hear this going on next door in a civilized society. And there's nothing you can say about it. because that is them. They've taken over. That's their culture, and you just build a bridge, or you are a racist.
Yeah, or you're racist. Okay, so your article now in Creative Destruction Media, CDM, folks, please look it up. It's titled Deciphering Apartheid Era Statistics. Talk about that a little bit, because basically what you're saying is most of the crime is black on black, which is what we're seeing, sadly, in our big cities as well.
Yeah, well, basically that is why I wrote the article. Is I just got attacked on social media saying that us white people just killed all these thousands of black people, and that's why I wrote. I said, hang on, if you look at the statistics put out by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission from 1948 to 1990. There was 7,000 deaths. That was 170 deaths a year. And that is usually because Mkhonto Sizwe, the military arm of the ANC, rised up and were planting bombs all over the country, and they were attacking, and of course the security police is going to respond. So the fact of the matter is, if you look at Pol Pot and Stalin and all those millions and millions of deaths, and the ways that apartheid got villainized over 7,000 over a period of 48 years. I don't see how they can do that, but they've justified it because they wanted to take over the country, communist takeover from within. You villainize the person in charge, and we happen to be white. And that's
you have the backing, unfortunately, here of singers that are saying, I ain't going to play Sin City anymore, and that kind of thing, until apartheid fell. And again, it's not the greatest, but what's happening now is you're basically having an all-out hunting season, really, on the Boers, the white people.
That's true, because if you look at the same people who absolutely got upset when President Trump became president, those same singers, it's the same leftist agenda. It's the same people behind the takedown of my country is behind the takedown of South Africa. If you look at the video in my article, there's a video clip from Joe Biden in 1986 where he goes on about this horrible white regime that just needs to be taken out, and that they have no loyalty to the white South African population and what we've built in South Africa. Because prior to us landing there, they were living in cow dung houses, spearing each other, running around in loincloths. And that is the fact and the reality of the situation. Whether that was racist, you know what, then it is, because that's the reality.
All right, we got about a minute left, Bren. What is the influence of China in South Africa?
Oh, it's huge. China owns every single police station in South Africa now. They have taken over many of the factories. And the sad thing is the South African black people, because I mean, trust, these are very, very good black people there. And not everybody is weaponized and insane like the leftists. It's just the BLM version of what you've got here. Mm-hmm. But the majority of black people are suffering under the Chinese. They thought they could go on strike, and then the whole workforce vanished. There's speculation that they were taken out and buried in some mass grave, but who knows what happened there. So yeah, they are treating the black people so bad, but nobody would ever say that because it's the white terrible racists.
Brendy, your husband, the great John B. Wells, caravantomidnight.com. We thank him for his voice and you for working with him to bring the truth about South Africa out there. And folks, you can see there as well, jellyfish.news for some of the latest news. But please follow Brendy Wells and John B. Wells, Caravan to Midnight. We got to have you on again. Keep us up to date on this unfortunate situation here as well as in South Africa. Brendy Wells, thank you so much for joining us here on Cowboy Logic. We'll be back right after this. Hey everybody. everybody. Donna Fiducia, Cowboy Logic, here to talk about My Pillow and My Store. Mike Lindell has such great products, and if you use the promo code 1776, you get additional discounts. First of all, the My Pillow dog beds. They come in 3 different sizes. We get the big ass ones because we got big ass mutts, that's for sure. Big ass rescue dogs, and they're even reversible, which is great, and washable. Machine washable. Then you've got the coffee. Comes in many different flavors. My coffee is awesome. We've got the decaf, we've got the regular, we've got the dark roast. You just can't beat it. My Pillow and My Store, promo code 1776, supports Cowboy Logic and certainly supports Mike Lindell. And of course, you can't not talk about My Pillow. My Pillow 2.0 is out there right now, and Mike Lindell has great specials with that. Again, it's My Pillow and My Store. Promo code 1776 supports the show and Mike Lindell. On Cowboy Logic. The great Ron Phillips is visiting, folks, and he and Don have just been all over the place. Don, as you know, has been drinking this honey. Ron, can you please find Don? Where the heck did he go this time? He's just unbelievable. He's on a total honey high right now. That's all I can say. Oh, here we go. Is he in there? Here he comes. Here he comes. He's running it off. Oh my gosh, come on, Don, where are you?
I'm here.
Come on.
I'm here. I'm coming.
We can never get the show started on time with him. Oops.
I'm here.
Are you okay?
I'm here. I'm good.
Are you okay?
I'm good.
Make honey great again.
Sorry I'm late.
This is the results you get when you get a honey high, folks. MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com.
Man, I'm all jacked up on that honey.
Code 1776. Hey, this is really cool, though. You okay?
I'm good.
Didn't look like you were good.
I'm good.
A little Benny Hill action going
I'm all
on there.
Jacked up on that honey high.
There you go. But see, this is actually a Donald Trump, and this is a little keepsake. I love that little.
Yeah, let me have a little.
Oh no! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Little reactionary there.
Where were we?
Yeah, you're nuts is where we were. I wanted to get back to Colton Moore. Are you okay?
Now I'm falling down from the honey high.
Our great young state senator here in Georgia. ColtonMoore.com, folks. If you live in Georgia, get on his website, call your state legislator, call your state Senate representative. Again, we got to have a special session of the state legislature here in Georgia. I want to mention one other thing I didn't get to mention before.
Well, hold on a second. What? Doesn't it suck that we have to call on our elected officials to protect us from our elected officials?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, because you know what they're doing? It's like the Lord of the Rings scenario, I call it. They protect the precious. That's what they're doing. And the precious, quite honestly, is not Joe Biden. The precious is Barack Obama. This is what they're doing. They have to throw everything they can, including the kitchen sink, at Donald Trump when it's really what they themselves are doing. Just
Wouldn't
what you really have to look at.
If our local and our state elected officials protected us from our federally elected officials?
Well, this is what I wanted to talk about before. Because Brian Kemp, actually the governor here in Georgia, who I got to admit, he did keep the state open, and they're going to talk about COVID lockdowns again this fall, so be aware of that, folks. Brian Kemp did sign legislation to remove elected DAs. It's Senate Bill 92. It allows statewide prosecuting attorneys to investigate and remove them from office for willful misconduct and conviction of a crime. So this is kind of what Colton Moore wants to look at. As far as Fannie Willis is concerned, you can remove them. And I don't know whether that's something that Brian Kemp meant to do, but oopsie, it's there and it's usable here in the state of Georgia. Yeah. You know, Alan Dershowitz was talking about that. He said RICO cases usually take at least 1 to 3 years. And Fannie Willis is trying to push this into early 2024. Gee, what happens in early 2024?
Primaries.
Trying to think. Oh,
primaries.
That's right. Primaries. In the middle of primary season. We can't let Trump run.
Can't let
That's
him
really
run.
the bottom line. I think it's awesome, though, that he is going to have an interview with Tucker Carlson.
And you called it.
Yep.
You called it, Miss Baghdad Bob.
It's true.
She came up with that, too,
That
for
was
those
mine.
of you that don't know that. That was hers.
Back in 2000, whenever, at Fox. So anyhow, we need some good news, though.
Well, speaking of our locally elected politicians trying to protect us from the federal elected politicians, there's a guy that, and I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read this, but there's a guy that wrote what appears to be a major hit song.
Yeah, Oliver Anthony is his music name.
Yeah.
Oliver Anthony Music. And the song is called Rich Men North of Richmond.
Let me set this up, though. Mm-hmm. There are videos on YouTube of people reacting to various songs. We played some of those on our Thursday night barn parties where, you might have Pavarotti singing something and you've got people reacting to it. And it's kind of cool to watch this stuff because a lot of times the people that are reacting to it may not listen to a specific genre like, opera.
And they're floored half the time by it. They go, wow.
So this is a montage of reactions to this gentleman's song, Rich Men North of Richmond. Ron, roll it, please.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me. can rock with that. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end.
Okay.
Those are rich men, those are rich men.
This is true. Tell 'em, buddy.
Some of us can't say what we absolutely know is true, and he's articulating it.
I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me.
What?
People like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, it ain't. And it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men north of Richmond.
All right.
Wow.
You know, if you're an American,
How many people it touched?
if you're an American, that song means something to you. And that's why you saw people that were of all colors, of various races, that were emotionally affected by that man's song. Because they're Americans.
It's what I take such... it just really pisses you off when you see people make America great again. What is so bad about making America great again? I think most people don't even know, if they watch mainstream media, young kids, all they hear is MAGA's terrible. And you can actually go out and see some of these montages online. People say, what's so bad about America? What's so bad about Trump? They can't even answer that anymore because it's just it's like 5 years of gaslighting. And it's gotten to the point where we have to take a step back and realize we are all Americans. It's we, the people. We, the people. And we are in this together. And the rich men north of Richmond don't like us. And that is really the bottom line. They're up 40.
They don't like us at all.
The government, the federal government, is up 40%. It's 40% bigger, almost doubled since COVID. Where's all your money going? I think that $200 billion that we're sending plus now to Ukraine could be very well used by the people of Hawaii, don't you? Or in East Palestine.
Yeah, what's Biden sending over there? $700?
Yeah, $700 per person. Are you kidding me? Thousands are still missing. At least 500 dead now, incinerated in their cars because of a guy who doesn't want to use water because he worships water. Are you serious? You're an island. Oh, it's just insane.
Did you guys ever think we'd see an America like this?
And yet
Did
it's
you
always
ever
Trump's fault.
Think that you would see your America like this?
God
Never.
bless this song, Oliver Anthony. Gotta love it. You gotta love it.
All right, we got one more segment, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go to break. Run to that potty. You're watching Cowboy Logic. We'll be right back.
Hey, gang, you know what food is great for you? Honey. And now it's time to make honey great again.com.
Yeah, baby.
Well, show this. Hold on. This Donald Trump, isn't that if nothing else, you're going to save the bottle afterward. You're not supposed to eat that much of it.
Yeah.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Again, honey really is something. Ugh.
Drink honey like I do and do 4 or 5 takes of it.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Honey really is a superfood.
Woo! I'm all jacked up on that honey high.
You can cook with it. You know that it's great for you. I drink it actually with a little apple cider vinegar, and it tastes great, and it's good for you. Helps you lose weight. MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Promo code 1776.
Hey, Donna, I'm all jacked up. Why? This is the 4th take of this commercial, and each time I'm drinking honey, so I'm all jacked up on the natural sugar high.
Welcome back to Cowboy Logic, everyone. Donna Fiducia, along with Don Neuen. Want to talk about the hashtag double standard. I mean, how many times have you actually done that lately on social media? I mean, it's pretty much all I do.
Yeah.
Is to try to show people the comparison between how corrupt this deep state really is in weaponizing everything against Donald J. Trump, and yet they turn around and say in so many instances that, no, it's Donald J. Trump that's doing all this. When, again, the best thing you can do, I think, is to look at what they are doing, because what they say is the opposite of what the truth is. So we have to compare weaponization. Again, whatever they accuse Trump of doing is what they themselves are doing. So who is actually doing the weaponizing of the DOJ? You decide for yourself.
Now that he's got the right attorney general in position to do it, we now know they really have been trying to gin up criminal prosecutions and criminal investigations into the president's perceived enemies, politically motivated persecution, right? Courtesy of Bill Barr. I'll roll in the FBI on you. That's how banana republics work, right?
The home of the 45th president of the United States has been raided by the FBI.
Mr. Trump is using the Justice Department to go after his perceived enemies. I feel worried about the prospect of the Justice Department being used as a tool of this president or any. In our little banana republic, any capable prosecutor can get a grand jury to hand down an indictment of something as innocent as a ham sandwich.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump.
Breaking news on former President Trump. He's been indicted for the 4th time in 5 months.
Bill Barr, on the president's behalf, is weaponizing the Justice Department to go after the president's enemies. When you win an election, you don't seek to just prosecute the losing side.
The president using the Justice Department as a weapon to get what he wants.
Department of Justice is totally politicized.
Sticking the Department of Justice on political opponents, threatening to imprison his political rival, Banana Republic style.
Trying to exact revenge against all of his enemies, tin pot dictator in a banana republic.
Is acting more like a banana republic dictator.
He's using government resources to go after his political opponent.
Essentially, we are a banana republic, that we are seeking to have a bogus and criminal investigation into a political opponent.
And that's using the Department of Justice to also target Trump's political opponent for nefarious reasons. This is a massive abuse of power and a betrayal of our values.
The President of the United States is targeting a family member of a political opponent. This is the type of thing that happens in a banana republic.
And trying to take out a political rival in Joe Biden.
Criminally investigating an American political rival, someone the president is worried about losing to in the next election.
To investigate my principal opponent or a principal opponent in the upcoming election. Houston, we have a problem.
Don't you think that's something that should be investigated when the incumbent political party opens a counterintelligence investigation on the candidate of the opposing party?
We know Trump is itching to politicize the Justice Department, and the Attorney General has been super shady.
The president is weaponizing the Department of Justice to bring cases against his enemies. The Department of Justice is in an existential crisis.
Again, it's yet another example of the Justice Department basically losing all of its independence in this administration.
This is now about corrupting the next election. And for me, this was crossing the red line.
A president who is actively trying to potentially steal the upcoming election.
But to try to take out a political rival. The end goal being 2020.
Donald Trump and his attorney general are using the Justice Department.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Grabian just does such great work. Hat tip to them, Grabian. Awesome. Keep up the great work. If you didn't see who these people were, you'd think that's what they're talking about now. But they're talking about Donald Trump 3, 4, 5 years ago at this point. And again, you've got Pol Pot, Mao, Stalin, Castro. Those are the people who try to imprison their political opponents. And look what this Biden administration is doing. Again, though, in my opinion, they're protecting the precious, and that is Barack Obama. This is Obama Part 3, what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
And that's why they cannot let Joe Biden fail. Really. And you know what? Biden used aliases, email addresses, too. Just like they're saying, you know, Hillary did, Obama did it as well.
Yeah, what was it? Peter Short?
It was something like that. But the point is, Peter Short.
Maybe not.
But,
just saying, that might have been fake news.
You know, and then that's okay. It doesn't matter. Hunter Biden gets a pass. You know, we'll contort ourselves.
You know what I don't understand is how these people in the left-wing media, and for that matter, the mainstream media, can actually think anybody actually takes them seriously.
But I don't know how they sleep at night.
They're not at the grown-up table, that's for sure. I don't even know if they're at the little kid table.
They're at the BS table is what they are. At the BS table. Yeah. Hey, there is a Border Patrol and TSA whistleblowers now that are saying mask mandates and full COVID restrictions are coming back in October. Gee. What does that sound like again? Must be a political season, don't you think? We got to lock everybody down one more time. That's how we won in 2024.
I don't know about you guys.
Well, they say they won in 2024.
But I'm not interested in that again.
No.
That was devastating enough for 18 months when we were not allowed to earn a living.
Yeah.
That was devastating enough.
They didn't miss a paycheck. They did not miss
Yeah.
a paycheck. In fact, they gave themselves raises.
Yep.
And now they're squealing like stuck pigs because we might have to shut them down again at the end of September. Shut it down. Let them feel the pain. Let them feel the pain of we the people.
That's right. All right, we got about 2 more minutes. We want to bring in...
We the people.
Yeah.
We the people.
Oops, that's
Oops,
the
wrong one. Okay.
Hey, Ron, come here.
Speaking of we the people.
Hey, we got producer Ron in the house.
Producer Ron has been
producer
visiting.
Ron, there he is. There he is. Look at him.
Speaking of we the people.
Show us the ink there, Ron.
Check it out. Ron's got the
Ron
ink
went
too.
and got it.
He's got the Mold Bob even with the...
a little bit different.
Well, a little different.
That looks pretty cool right there.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
I drew that with a ballpoint pen.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
You're leaving so fast, that's it?
Well, where are you, Ron?
He's running away already.
He's got stuff to do.
I guess. We're going to put his butt to work this weekend.
That's right. He's got stalls to muck
Yeah,
is what he's got to do.
Horses
I don't
to
know what he's
feed.
thinking about stuff.
It's so great having him here. It really is because, oh no, not more. I just want to do a quick, the bee or not the bee.
How about those bees right there?
You tell me if this is the bee or not the bee, or the honeybee, okay? Queens, speaking of the bee or not the bee.
Am I supposed to answer this?
No, Queens, yes. Queen's Fat Bottom Girls is cut from Queen's Greatest Hits to appease a younger audience because they say it might be sexist or racist, but they're not going to have Fat Bottom Girls. Well, it's a Universal Music compilation going totally woke. They are not going to put Fat Bottom Girls on this musical compilation of the great Freddie Mercury and Queen.
I don't think... Hey, Parker Sig. I need to ask you. I'm phoning a friend, man.
You're stealing Parker's phone?
I'm using your phone when you were 2. 1, maybe 18 months old. What was the question again?
Jr.?
You got to go quick.
Okay, is Queen's Fat Bottom Girls going to be on their greatest hits? Their newest greatest hits.
Did you hear that? No.
You're right.
Thanks, Parker. We love you, man. Say hey to your dad.
Universal Music is going woke.
Hey, everybody.
Just the latest.
We're at the end of the show. You know what that means, right?
That? Oh, yes.
That means National Anthem sung by our beautiful and beloved J6ers. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for all gentlemen to take off the hat. Ladies, hands over the hearts for the most beautiful National Anthem ever sung by our beloved J6ers.
It's a great week, everyone. God bless.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, everybody, we got a brand new sponsor at Cowboy Logic. 1776 promo code gets you 15% off.
SugarCreekGoods.com.
Yeah.
We are talking about all natural cleansers, scrubs, creams. This is the body butter. I love this. This is awesome stuff. Don, let me put a little bit on here. Don uses the Freedom Bar because the Freedom Bar is even more special, right? Because 100% of the Freedom Bar proceeds go to Jan Sixers. There you go. Perfect.
Freedom Bar, all proceeds go to J Sixers.
Again, it's sugarcreekgoods.com. Hey, I got the toner too, and let me tell you something. It minimizes the pores on your face.
Yeah,
it's
she
awesome.
uses it before the show.
I only used it a couple days so
and
far.
I use this every day. And these bars last. They don't disappear like a lot of this stuff.
That's sugarcreekgoods.com, sugarcreekgoods.com.